Hey, it's Kim and we're back with another video. Today I'm going to be going over my monthly journal spreads for the months of May and June. I got a little bit behind at the end of May or early June. I wasn't able to complete that journal spread, so I figured I would wait a little while, and then we were kind of running into the end of June and I figured I might as well do them both together and I might as well film it because why not? So I'm setting up, and I typically use the same supplies for all of these journal spreads. I'm using these stamps and I'll have them linked down below. These are from Carrie Bradford and I believe the name is called the Max Outline stamps. I really do love them. I do think that they go in and out of stock, so make sure you check back if you love them too. Like I said, I'll have them linked down below. And I always use the Versa Magic Dewdrop ink. I like it because it's a chalk-based ink and it doesn't bleed through the Tomoe River paper. And also in terms of supplies, I always use my trusty Tombow markers, of course the dual brush pen markers, in varying colors depending on what color scheme I'm going with for the month. And to print my photos, I've been using my Canon Selfie, which is like a mini photo printer. But I'm sure you can use just about any photo printer that you would like. Even just printing it on regular copy paper on a printer would work just fine. I opted to use the Canon Selfie because I don't use it much. And also, since I'm doing this spread once every 30 or so pages in my planner, it doesn't really add too much bulk. So that's not a concern for this use or for this application. However, I do think it would probably be a lot easier if you had something like a Cricut or a Silhouette machine to already print the photos on paper that has adhesive on the back. That would definitely make life a lot easier. But since I'm just printing regular photos on the Canon Selfie, I do use a Tombow adhesive to stick the photos down, and it works just fine for my needs. I decided, since I have 2 months to do at a time, that I would do kind of batching all of the tasks together. So stamping out the words for the month all at once, cutting out all of the photos all at once, going back and stamping all of the little decorative things that I'm adding to the spreads all at once. You get the drift. Sort of just batching all of the actual steps in the process of creating these journal spreads. And I do feel like it came together quicker than I thought it would. I don't know if that's just mental or in actuality, but it seemed to go by a lot quicker than I thought it would. These spreads generally don't take me a long time, maybe about a half hour max. And the longest amount of time is usually me trying to figure out what I'm going to write on the page. But my process in general for choosing the photos, I'll go back through my camera roll and choose any of those photos that represent highlights that occurred during the month. And I store them in a folder on my phone. So there's like a May 2024 folder and a June 2024 folder, and I'll just save the photos there and then come back at the end of the month when I'm ready to set up this journal spread. I'll pick the ones that I really want to add to, this layout, and then I just use a free app to put it into a collage and print that out on my photo printer. I do have another video showing all the steps that I use in this whole process, or all the steps that I do in this whole process. I'll have that one linked down below for you, and also in the cards if you want to check that one out too. Once I get all of the photos cut out, then I'll kind of try and play around with them to see where I want everything laid out on the page. I also have to make sure that I leave enough space for me to do a little bit of journaling beside each photo. And then I go back and choose a color scheme. Now the color scheme that I choose is kind of dependent on maybe what's in the photos, but mostly just what I feel like the month is. Almost like how I feel the color of the month would be. Don't know how to explain it, but that's just how I pick the colors, and I make sure that I have a Tombow marker that coordinates well with whichever ink that I'm going to be using for the month. And actually, as I was looking through all of the swatches that I have of my inks, I feel like I need some more. I feel like I need some brighter colors to add to my collection, so I will be working on that soon. Once I choose the color scheme, the next thing I do is go through all of my stamps to pick which ones I can use that would highlight whatever's going on in the photos. I don't necessarily need to have a stamp for each and every photo, but I just want to make sure that they are evenly distributed around the spread. And most of my stamps are from Everyday Explorers, which I'll have linked down below. Sometimes they go in and out of stock, and I know that I do have a few stamp sets that are not currently being sold. But if you want to know about anything specific that you'll see on my page, definitely leave me a question down below and I will try my best to get you a link. And when I color in these outline stamps, these outline letters that I stamped on the page, I actually don't want to color them in all the way. I like to leave some white space around whichever color marker I've chosen. I like the look of that more than just filling in the entire outline with the Tombow marker. So once all the months are colored in, it's time to pick out all of my stamps. And the same as I did with testing out the placement of the photos, I'll test out the placement of the stamps before I decide on a final location. So I'll arrange them around the page to see exactly where I want them to be and exactly how I can position them, so I'll have enough space to do a bit of journaling around them, and then I'll go back through and stamp all of the stamps using my selected ink color. And in the video, I just put that piece of paper towel in between the pages just in case any of that stamping ink wasn't dry before I flipped the page. So I've stamped and kind of been able to take a step back to take a look and see if I want to add anything else. And I do believe I want to add a few like places or a few doodles on this spread. And then I'm going to come back and write in all of the little spots of journaling to explain the photos and just recap more on the months themselves. I feel like that's good enough. Also, I wanted to add something up here, but I just wasn't sure what it should be or what it could be. I was thinking something summer specific, so what I'm going to do actually is Google like summer doodles. And that's what I always do when I know I want to draw something out. I'll just Google images or doodles that would be depicted or that would kind of convey whatever that message is that I'm trying to get across. So, oh, maybe an ice cream cone. That might be cute. Let's see if I can do something like an ice cream cone. Alright, so I'm going to use my micron and a the 0.8 micron. I would prefer a thinner one, but my thinner one is drying out and I need to replace it, which I haven't done yet. So and I don't draw these to be perfect at all. They won't be. I'm not that good of an artist. So, you know, they're hand-drawn and they look hand-drawn. All right. And I pulled out a few of these colors from my daughter's set of Prismacolor colored pencils. Okay. So it's this one next. So just lightest to darkest. Now, will I also have blue ice cream? Maybe. I'll do the light blue, and that gives me like cotton candy ice cream vibes. And then I need a brown for the cone. Let's see, is this one too dark? Alright, so those are my little doodles that I wanted to add to the June spread. And now is when I'll go in and write out all of my journaling. So that wraps up June. And if I flip through all of the months, you can kind of see how they sort of come together. It wasn't until I think like April that I started to really think about how all of the colors kind of coordinate with each other, or at least I feel like the colors have to relate to the month in some kind of way, whether it be seasonal or I don't know, something that actually occurred that month. And then I felt like all of the colors needed to tie into one another, like as you go along throughout the year. So I'm really proud of how all of these monthly journal spreads have shaped up for the first half of the year so far. And I'm really excited to see what they're gonna look like for the remaining half of the year. And it's definitely something I'm going to stick with and I'm going to keep doing throughout the year. And I'm also excited to see how this might evolve, like maybe for next year, you know, like will I change the spread? Will I do it in a different book? What's gonna happen? But right now I'm really loving doing all of this memory journaling and memory keeping inside of my regular daily planner. So I thank you so much for following along with me on this monthly journal spreads setup and view throughout 2024 so far. And if you have any questions, feel free to leave them down below. I'll link any supplies or anything I mentioned in the description box for you as well. Again, thank you so much for watching today's video, and I'll see you in the next one.